Hello, this is Tristan from heartratemonitor.co.uk and this is my short video review of the Polar M200. The M200 is aimed primarily at the runners market, but because it makes use of Polar sports profiles, there's no reason why it can't be used for anybody partaking in any indoor or outdoor sport, especially if it needs speed and distance and heart rate, because the Polar M200 features a built-in internal GPS and also wrist-based heart rate sensor on the back of the watch here. So those sensors will pick up the heart rate directly off the wrist, meaning you don't have to wear a chest strap. Okay, so let's get into the review. There's two buttons on the watch, one on the left, one on the right. It's charged by popping a USB charger onto this section here. As you can see, the watch unit is a module that pops in and out of the case. So if you want to, you can either buy additional coloured straps, so it comes in red, blue, yellow, white and black, etc. And once it's clipped in, it is very secure. There's no chance that's going to pop out. As I get into the review, I have to be honest and say this is one area of the watch that I find to be a little bit irritating. If I pick up, so for example, you can see I'm doing sort of a rotation of the watch here, and there's points when it's hard to see. I use this desk light because that's, I find, to be as close as you will get outside under normal daylight. Now if I was to do the same with a Polar M400, there are a few flat bits there, but you'll see how much brighter that type of display is to the M200. Similarly, with the new Garmin Forerunner 35, Polar M400, and there's the Polar M200. So I'm going to press this. Now pressing this briefly will take you through the main features. Okay, so we'll go through those again. Training, activity tracker, history, my heart rate, and settings. To go into any of those, you press and hold it. So if I want to go into training, I'll press and hold it. And again, now to choose through the different sports profiles, remember, if I haven't said so already, the M200 makes use of Polar sports profiles. So they're set up on the Polar Flow website. You can choose, I think it's up to 20 from about 80 different sports profiles. And when you want to start it, you just press and hold it. If you press the button now, you'll scroll through the main screens. I can't remember exactly, but I'll put the message on the display. I think you've got four main screens, and on each screen you can have two metrics at a time. So you can't choose just one metric or three or four. You only have the choice of choosing one metric. Sorry, two metrics per screen. That's something you set up yourself in Polar Flow, and it's very easy to do, but you don't have the option of setting more or less. To pause an activity, press the left button. To restart, press the right button. To stop it, press and hold. And then you get given the option of either saving or deleting, so I'll delete that. You will have noticed then that in the one of the screens was the Cooper. A Cooper test is a recommended heart rate test, that a running test, sorry, where you run a certain distance as quickly as you can, and that's one of the key features of the Polar M200. You'll find that in a bit more detail on my review page, but it's a good way of tracking your progress as a runner. Okay, so right button to navigate through the features. We looked at training and now activity. If we press activity and hold it, it will tell me how long I have to go to achieve my daily activity target. So either I have 5 hours standing up, 39 minutes jogging, or 1.5 hours walking. 32% is the activity bar there, and that fills in. Polar use one of 3 different activity levels, either 1, 2 or 3, sort of for sedentary desk office people like myself. Then there's medium activity, and then there's people who work probably outdoors, gardeners, builders, etc. Then there'll be activity level 3. You don't have the option of just setting your own arbitrary daily activity goal. You'll notice it's a round screen, and around the screen are dots just up to 30%. That's also an indicator of your daily activity. That's your activity progress bar. You will get move alerts as well, so every hour of inactivity you'll get the watch will bleep and tell you to perform some short activity. History, as it says, you can just go into the history from a previous session. So here's a bike ride, 1 hour 37 minutes, average heart rate, maximum heart rate, distance, speed. So that was a mountain bike ride the other day. Back and back. Press again for my HR. My HR is activating the heart rate sensor. So that's just throughout the day you've decided you want to check your heart rate, put it into my HR mode, and let's just pop it on my wrist. And there you go. There's the heart rate off the wrist. I have performed heart rate accuracy tests with the M200, wearing an M200 on the wrist, and then also a Polar H7 chest strap, setting the heart rate to a Polar GPS bike computer M450, and so far I have to say that the results have been brilliant. You will read some bad press about the wrist-based heart rate sensors, and rightly so. Some of the early ones weren't that good, but now pretty much anything by Polar, Garmin, Mio, and TomTom especially is very good. Okay, so that's my HR. So all that does is it just picks up your heart rate there and then, doesn't broadcast it, doesn't record it, it's just taking a snapshot. Which actually, one point I should say, the M200 does not take 24/7 heart rate. Again, something like the Forerunner 35 here takes the heart rate off your wrist every 3 or 4 minutes to give you a heart rate graph of your sort of intensity and activity throughout the day. The M200 only takes your heart rate when it's in exercise mode or in my heart mode, and I say that's just a display, it's not recorded. And then we go into settings, which are basically pair and sync, flight mode, smartphone notifications, and about the product. Synchronizing the data from the Polar M200 is simple. Obviously initially you just have to set it up as a device in your Polar Flow. So here's my Polar M200. The settings here are quite brief really. All you can do is set it from left wrist to right wrist, and also set your daily alarm, something that personally I prefer to be, or also to be in the watch, just in case you've not got your phone on you. But the M200 does have a daily alarm, and it's set in the Flow, Polar Flow app. So this watch has been paired. It's really easy to pair with the Bluetooth on an Android or an iOS phone. Once it's paired, to synchronize, all you do is press and hold the left hand button, which will then sync up to the phone as it says they're pairing, and now the data is being paired, uploaded to the app. Once it's been uploaded to the app, it will then be sent on to the Polar Flow web service, and If you have, like I have, Strava, it will share the data onto Strava. The app itself is very good. Everything you would expect from someone like Polar. You get a breakdown, 24/7 hour breakdown of your standing, walking, sitting, lying data, with some feedback here on everything, including sleep. I actually don't wear a watch at night time, so there's no sleep data there. Activity data, detailed breakdown, including a heart rate graph, time spent in the 5 training zones. The Polar M200 watch doesn't make use of the 5 heart rate zones, but the data, once it's uploaded into the Flow app, does. So I personally like to know how long I'm spending in zones. Normally a sort of cardiovascular exercise should be spending majority of the time in zone 3, as can be seen by this mountain bike ride. Okay, so that's the Flow app. Not really reviewing that right now, but it's a very competent app, one of the best of all of the brands, comparing it to things like Garmin Connect, Fitbit, TomTom MySport, etc. This is the Polar M200. As I say, it's a GPS running watch. You'll get about, I believe, 5 or 6 days out of the watch once it's been fully charged, using it for an hour a day of heart rate monitoring and GPS. It's easy to use. It's an activity tracker counting steps and calories, and wrist-based heart rate, which has proven to be very accurate. Please refer to the website for more details on that. And I've not given it the highest score possible, and probably my main criticism of the watch is this display. It definitely does the job, but Polar have got the technology in their M400, and I would have preferred they'd use that. I'll just take the torch away and then show you this button on the right, sorry, the button on the left, pressed quickly, will activate the backlight, which is good. The M200 doesn't have any wrist gestures, so most fitness trackers have the option of, when you tip it up, if you want to and it's enabled, it will light up. It does have wrist gestures when it's in exercise mode. I can't just tip it, I have to lift it up, and then you'll see you get the wrist gesture, so it comes back on again and then it will turn off again. So it does have auto light for a wrist gesture when it's in exercise mode, but not in normal time of day mode. Okay, so very good value for money, great for people of all sports, not just running. It's totally swim proof as well, so it's 100% waterproof, sort of for surface swimming. Should have said that earlier. But because it makes use of Polar's sports profiles, you can set up as many sports as you want, relevant to you and your lifestyle, and then for each different sport you can then set up the screens to show you what you want to see relevant to you. The 3 things that I think could have been improved on the M200 are wrist gestures in time of day mode, maybe a tap or a tip, the display itself, and also something that I briefly alluded to, that the watch, once you've downloaded, tells you time in your 5 zones, but while you're training with the Polar M200, you don't know which one of your 5 zones you're in. You just see your heart rate as beats per minute. Something like the M400, when you're training, one of the views shows you a bar across the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it shows you where you are, which is one of those zones you're in. So I would like that to be something that maybe Polar can add. Okay, thank you for watching. It's Tristan from heartratemonitor.co.uk. Please visit the site to get alternative products, next model up, next model down, and prices, etc. Thank you very much.